get your character rig, mouth rig up out of Illustrator into Adobe Animate and get through the process to get the mouth lip sync to work properly. So I'm starting in Illustrator here. This is my vector guy here, just off the internet, combined with the mouth shapes. And right now they're all technically on the same layer, so I'm not sure if it's important to separate out the layers or not. I think we'll be okay. But just make sure that the mouth size is what you want it to be, and delete any vector shapes off of your character here so that it doesn't get in the way when you go to animate. So now we're going to move over to Adobe Animate and bring in this vector character and get it set up with its keyframes, it's called, and then throw in an audio file. So a couple ways you can save out of Illustrator here. You can save as a SVG file, which is what I'm doing here. I think AI would work just fine as well, but SVG is more of a universal vector graphic file type. So at this point I'm done with Illustrator. I'm going to move over to Adobe Animate. So we're going to create a new document here and just set it up with the normal size for now, and 30 frame rate is perfect. So we've got our Adobe Animate open. We're going to do File and Import to Stage here. And you'll grab your SVG graphic, get that opened up. And we want to import all onto the same layer and frame. It looks like I have some resizing to do, so if you also need to do that, you can switch to the free transform tool here. And let's see, let's grab everything at once here so we can scale it at the same time. And then I'm going to hold shift on my keyboard so that when I scale down, it doesn't distort my vectors. And then I can zoom back in. Great. So now we want to select all the mouths, and we're going to create a graphic out of those. So the first row I can just drag a box over, and then from here I want to hold shift because I do not want the lettering to be included in this selection I'm making here. And since I grouped up all the mouths in Illustrator, they're easily selectable as objects here in Animate. Okay, so now we are going to right click and convert to symbol. And the type of symbol we want is a graphic. So that's the only thing there. And we'll give it a name, I suppose, as well. Lip sync. Convert to symbol. Graphic. Okay. Cool. So now we're going to double click on this mouth group, and that's going to open up a separate timeline here. So up at the top here you can see we have scene 1, which I can back out to, which is my main scene here. If I double click on this, it gets me kind of my own timeline here where I can set up keyframes for each of the mouth shapes that I need to use in the lip sync. I'm going to use this tool here to zoom in on the timeline a bit so I can see what I've got going on here. And we are going to be inserting keyframes, it's called, into the timeline, and each keyframe is going to become a mouth shape for a character. So the process looks like this. You create a new keyframe in your timeline by right-clicking. And, well, the first one was added automatically, so I'll just do that one here. So this keyframe is selected, and I want to have this mouth shape be in this keyframe here. We're going to try and line these up all best we can. So I'm trying to go right under the nose. And then if I click off of the mouth and then click back to this object here, or excuse me, click on the keyframe down here, I can give it a label, which is in this case the mouth shape for AEI. So that's what I'm going to label this keyframe is AEI, and then that gets displayed down here. I'm going to move down to my next keyframe, and this will be the O mouth shape. Put that in here. And again, I'm going to click off it, click to the frame itself down here, and this is named O. So again, the process is to right-click, insert keyframe, and then this keyframe, let's see, I don't want the O, so I'm going to put that back. And this one will be this. And just under the nose, best I can. You can nudge with the arrow keys if you get it close, and then want to nudge a little bit. And then you label, and this is kind of a lot of my consonants: C, D, N, S, T, X, Y, Z. I got a lot going on there. And I'll go through one more, and then I'll speed up the process. So right click, insert keyframe, swap out this mouth, the other one. Get it in position, nudge, nudge, nudge if I need to, arrow keys. Click off, click the keyframe down here. There we go. And this keyframe is called GK because that's the mouse shape here. So I'm going to speed up the video as I do the next 8 here. Okay, so I have all my keyframes set. I can scrub back through the timeline here, and I should see all my mouth shapes here. Now the problem is on each keyframe I have all these extra mouth shapes. So we're going to go ahead and clean those up next and just get rid of all of them on the keyframes that we don't need. And then we'll get rid of this lettering later, but for now we'll just worry about our keyframes with the mouth shapes, and then we can get rid of the lettering on our main scene in a moment. So I'm just going to go through the timeline here real quick, and as you can see, I'm just dragging a box, hitting delete on my keyboard, get rid of these extra mouth shapes. Because when we go to animate, whatever is on our scene in these keyframes will show up depending on when the mouth shape is triggered with the lip sync recognition of Adobe Animate. So we don't want a bunch of floating mouths off to the side. So let's see, I think I have 2 more to go here. Zoom back a little bit. Let's see, yep, I need to clean up U and QW. Okay. So now we're going to click back to our scene 1 up here and get back to kind of our main scene. And this is where we can select the lettering now that we've figured out what mouth shape is what. We can just get rid of that. We are good to go there. So now that we're back on main scene and not in our mouth kind of sub timeline, we can click on the mouth here and click on lip syncing. And we need to now set up our Vismes. So you click on each of these spots in this grid and you decide what is like a neutral mouth, so probably a closed mouth here. Ah would be the A sound. D I'm going to use as this because that's included in my sounds that were recommended for that lip shape. Here's my E. F is this one. L is this. M. And these won't match up perfectly depending on which mouth shapes you use. I had a couple that I think I had to think about. I think R was one that wasn't necessarily listed on my vector graphics I had, so I think about R as kind of a closed mouth. R, so maybe like, I don't know. I might even do like lips like this for R. It's not the best, but it'll work. S, let's see, S is this. U, and woo. Okay, so I've set up those mouth shapes. We don't have any audio to sync yet, so that's our next step. We'll come back to this screen in a moment. So now we are going to, let's see, I have 17 seconds to work with here. I could add some time to my timeline, but just for the sake of the video here, I'm just going to dive right into adding an audio clip now. So I'm going to add a new layer. This is layer 2, and we're going to import our audio clip, import to stage. And this is a sound clip that I got off the internet. MP3 is accepted. Wave is accepted. So there's a few specific audio types that we can add in here. So mine's an MP3, so I'm going to add that one in here. Problem is we only have one frame right now, and that audio clip is here. I can see a little red line, but it doesn't have enough room to breathe. So I'm going to go down as far as I can here right now, which on my timeline is just past 18 seconds. And on both layers here, I want to hold shift with my keyboard, or command would work as well to select both layers, because I want to add frames or insert frames by right clicking and get frames all the way down. For animation at the bottom and the audio at the top. So the audio I can now see is there. I can see the waveform and all that, which is good. So now on my vector mouth layer, I just want to click the mouth again. I'm going to go back to the start to be safe here. And now I go back, and when my mouth is selected, just one click, a double click will bring you into this keyframe timeline again, and that's not where you want to be. So I'm going to back up to scene 1 and just single click on the mouth, lip syncing, and now I can sync with audio in layer 2. That's exactly what I want it to do. So here's when Adobe Animate flexes its algorithms and does the job of syncing up the mouth shapes with the audio clip that you've selected. And if you wanted to swap in a different mouth shape, you can do that. You just have to go in and, let's see, change the frame. I forget how we change those, but there is a way to change these frames if it's not the one that you wanted to see. You can change it to another one by, I believe, going back into lip sync and switching to a different look. But for now, this is kind of exactly what I wanted. I wanted to hear the audio and see the lips doing their thing, which looks like it's, I have my computer audio down, but let's see if it plays.
Hey, I tell you what I'm gonna give you, Snakes. I'm gonna give you to the count of 10 to get your ugly, yellow, no-good keister off my property before I pump your guts full of lead.
All right, Johnny, I'm sorry.
So that cut me off at 18 seconds. That was just my timeline. My audio clip went a little longer than that, but the cool thing with this is once you have your rig set up, you could keep feeding audio through the system here, and your lip sync should continue to function time and time again. Before we export, the audio doesn't seem to export properly, and but I found a workaround. If I select my audio layer here on layer 2 for me, then over in my properties panel here, it looks like the frame subpanel, but down in this sound tab here, you should see the clip of your sound, and changing the sync drop down to stream seems to make sure that our audio matches up when we export this thing. So from there, it's file, export, video media, and entire movie. There's a lot of different formats that can work. I've had good luck with H.264 format and preset for YouTube. 720p is a fine quality, and then just deciding where this thing is going in the output and giving it a name, and then export, and off it goes. And that should be all there is to it. Good luck.